He greeted thousands of worshippers on Easter Sunday, and just hours later, he was gone. Pope Francis, the 88-year-old leader of the Catholic Church, passed away peacefully at 7:35 a.m. on April 21st, 2025. But what really happened that morning? What were his final hours like? And how close did he come to death before that day? Today, we're breaking down the truth behind Pope Francis's final days, the illnesses he fought, the warnings doctors gave, and the surprising moments of strength he showed just before the end. This is the real story of how Pope Francis died. According to reports from Corriere della Sera, Pope Francis was awoken by his alarm clock at 6 a.m. on April 21st. By 7 a.m., he began to feel unwell, and just 35 minutes later, he passed away at the St. Martha residence in the Vatican. Doctors say he died from a stroke, possibly a cerebral hemorrhage. The Vatican released an official statement confirming his passing, but has not yet shared a confirmed cause of death. Italian media, however, suggest he died peacefully in his room. He had shown no obvious signs of worsening illness the day before, making his sudden death even more shocking for those closest to him. Just one day before his death, on Easter Sunday, Pope Francis made what would be his final public appearance. From his wheelchair, he greeted a crowd of over 35,000 people in St. Peter's Square. Despite recent health struggles, he removed his oxygen support, waved to the crowds, and even appeared briefly on the Vatican balcony to say, "Brothers and sisters, Happy Easter." An aide read the rest of his blessing. Doctors had urged him to rest, but he was determined to serve, even if it meant pushing his limits. For almost an hour, he traveled among the crowd in 21 degrees Celsius heat, defying medical advice in a final, public act of devotion. That moment, in hindsight, now feels like his farewell to the world. Pope Francis had been no stranger to illness. As a young man, he had part of his lung removed due to pleurisy. Over the last few years, he faced repeated hospitalizations, intestinal surgeries in 2021 and 2023, bronchitis in early 2025, and later bilateral pneumonia, a dangerous condition where both lungs are infected. His doctors said his pneumonia was caused by a polymicrobial infection, meaning two or more organisms were attacking his lungs at once. He also battled bronchiectasis and asthmatic bronchitis, which made his respiratory system extremely vulnerable. At times, he had to undergo high-flow oxygen therapy, and in February, he nearly died after inhaling vomit during a coughing fit caused by bronchospasm. Despite these challenges, he continued his duties, often handing off speeches to aides while maintaining a physical presence at key events. On February 14, 2025, the Pope was admitted to Rome's Gemelli Hospital with bronchitis. Over the next few weeks, his condition worsened dramatically. He developed bilateral pneumonia, acute respiratory failure, and even early-stage kidney failure. On February 28th, his medical team faced a terrifying decision. They considered allowing him to pass peacefully after a major setback. That day, he suffered a severe bronchospasm and accidentally inhaled vomit, which caused a sudden respiratory collapse. Dr. Sergio Alfieri later described it as the worst day of the entire 38-day hospitalization. Despite these life-threatening events, Pope Francis gradually began to improve. On March 14th, he marked the 12th anniversary of his papacy from his hospital room. Finally, on March 23rd, he was discharged and returned to the Vatican, where he quietly resumed light duties. On the morning of his death, Pope Francis fell ill once more, and this time, he didn't recover. The Holy See announced his passing shortly after, honoring him as a leader who had dedicated his entire life to the service of God and the poor. His body will lie in state for 3 days in St. Peter's Basilica before being buried at the Basilica of Santa Maria Maggiore in Rome. Crowds from across the world are expected to arrive in Vatican City to pay their respects. According to Vatican Press Director Matteo Bruni, arrangements are already underway, and Pope Francis's funeral will follow the revised rites he himself approved in 2024, focused on simplicity and faith in Christ's resurrection. Pope Francis will be remembered not just as the first Latin American pope, but as a man who embraced simplicity, who chose compassion over tradition, and who never stopped working, even when his health failed him. In one of his final social media posts, he wrote, "Do not be afraid to take risks for love." He urged people to build a fraternal world, to transform evil into goodness, and to embrace joy in their spiritual lives. These messages defined his papacy, and even in death, they continue to inspire millions around the globe. He was, until the very end, a pope for the people. If this video helped you understand the full story behind the Pope's passing, leave a comment below and share your thoughts, prayers, or memories of Pope Francis. What moment from his papacy touched you most? What legacy do you think he leaves behind? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Spill Network for more in-depth stories on major global events. Thank you for watching.